Welcome back, everybody. Driver53 here with another short video on precision farming for Farming Simulator 19. And y'all, today we are taking a look at cotton and what the different levels of nitrogen do to your yield percentages. So as you can see, I've got a nice, awesome swath of cotton here. We've got three more over here. Let me get to the maps and I'll show you guys. These are our soil types. We've got loam, sandy loam, silty clay, and loamy sand. You can also see that right here I have the four different strips of cotton. These are, each one is within a different soil type. So if we come back over here, you're going to see the pH levels that we have all the way up and down, and they're all good. And then next you're going to see the nitrogen. And what I've got is all the way from 20 all the way up to 200. We have a little bit of a strip right here of 0 also, and then in between is 0. So what are we expecting to see here? Well, it's going to be really interesting because with cotton on loam you need to be at 120, which is going to be right here on this strip. So it's going to be interesting to see if any of the other ones above that have a reduction like what we've seen on some of the other crops. I'm not necessarily expecting it, but it is possible. So on sandy loam, we're actually only at 100. So right in this area is where we're going to be at. Silty clay is going to be the exact same thing. And then loamy sand is actually only 80. Wow. So I'm going to bet that we're going to see a little bit of reduction here. We might see some reduction on our sandy loam and our silty clay. But I'm not thinking that we're going to see anything on the loam. But there's only one way to find out. So let's get in the harvester here. We're going to get all this collected, and I will be back to show you guys those maps. We got a bale. That means we got the harvest done. There's actually quite a bit here. But let me go ahead and take you over to the map and show you what's going on. Once again, these are the soil types. We've got loam, sandy loam, silty clay, and loamy sand. And target nitrogen level for loam is 120 points. Sandy loam, we're looking at 100 points. Silty clay, 100. And loamy sand, 80. So let's go over here to the pH. As you can see, we missed the lake down here. We are good. And everything else did exactly what we thought it would do. Nitrogen levels also, everything did what we expected. So there's no issues there at all. So here are the yields. And it's really interesting again that we're seeing up in the 200 range a little bit of a drop off, but let's take a look and see exactly how much we're seeing. So on loam, this is the first one right here between the 8 and the 9. This is going to be our loam. So at 125% you're seeing at the top 6 values. So that's 200, 180, 160, 140, 120, and 100 are all going to give you 125% yield, and that's with 120. So you can be 20 points under all the way up to, on this crop, 5 points or 4 points over. So that's really, really awesome that you can have that big of a spread. So don't be afraid if you accidentally over fertilize, you're going to be all right on loam anyway. So let's keep going. At 115 you're going to have this be your 80. Yeah, your 80 and your 60. Sorry, it just could look kind of weird there for a second. So your 80 and your 60 are going to give you 115% yield. At 110%, you're going to have your 40 kilograms a hectare. And at 105, you're going to have everything else. So that's 20 and 0. So if you don't put any fertilizer at all in loam with cotton, you're going to get 105%. That's 20% less than the max, but that's still better than base game. So as long as you've got everything else going, you don't need to, I mean, you may not need to put anything down at all. You know, I don't know what the cost difference would be for fertilizer versus yield. It's kind of tough to say. I know cotton is a pretty good payday though. Next we're going to move over to sandy loam, and that's going to start here with the 100%. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Wow, quite a few of them. And target on this again was 100 points of nitrogen, and it looks like your 180 your 160, your 140, your 120, and your 100 are all going to give you the 100%. So it's really interesting on this one. You can't really go under and get less, because you see we've got 195. But, you know, on the other one, you could go 20 points under on Loam and still be all right at 125 and get the same. I don't know, maybe it's rounding it up since we don't have a spot for 120. That is interesting, though. I don't know any other way to look at that. I don't think the field info tells you that, but it is interesting. So we've got 95%. We are getting our top one at 200. So once again, you can do 4 additional steps of fertilizer, but once you get to that 5th one, you're going to start seeing your reduction. Now it's only 5%, but it is a reduction. Also, you're going to see your 80 and your 60 have 95% yield also. So at 90%, we're going to come in here, and that's going to be your 40 and your 20. And then at 85 is everything else. So 15-point difference if you have 0 versus fully fertilized. That's interesting. Really, well, I guess actually fully fertilized is only going to give you 95%. So it's only a 10-point difference. But to get that magic number, you need to be 100 to 180. That's going to give you 100%. So next, let's take a look at our Silty Clay. And that's up at the top, this section right up here. So at 90% yield, you're going to have not the top one, but the next 5. So once again, consistent with sandy loam, you're going to have your 180, 160, 140, 120, and 100 all be at 90% yield. So the maximum you could get on Silty Clay. Next is going to be 85. And you can see that that is going to drop down to 80 and the 60, and also your 200. So really, I mean, it's not interesting. It's the same thing as what you're seeing on the other one. You're going to have that drop off when you get basically 100 points over is when you're going to start seeing the drop off. Maybe that's what it is. 100 points over and you're going to get that drop off. Yeah. All right, so 80% now. That's going to be your 40 and your 20. And 75 is going to be everything else. So if you don't put anything in the ground at 75 and you fully max it out, you're at 85. So a 10-point spread again, but to hit that magic, you're going to need 100 points of nitrogen. Really, really interesting. All right, so let's turn these back on, and now we're going to come down here and take a look at our loamy sand. And this one looks a little bit interesting down here. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with it, but we're going to take the bigger number of the two. And I'll show you what I mean here in a second. So I'm on 80% right now. If I turn 80% off, watch how much of this map, of this strip, turns off. Almost the entire thing, right? So it's really, really cool to see that if you're on loamy sand and you max it out, right, you're not getting a reduction if you're under. So you could, I mean, 20 points of nitrogen is going to get you the same as 80 points of nitrogen on this. It's really, really cool. So once again, that's 180, 160, 140, 120, 100, 80, 60, 40, and 20. Like I said, our target is 80, but even if you're at 180, you're still going to get the same yield as you would at 100 or even all the way down at 20. So save some fertilizer, folks, on sandy loam. I mean, if you can only put down a fifth, 20% of the fertilizer that you need on that crop and still get the same yield, I think that is the way to go. I know that you've got the automatic setting. It's maybe a lot simpler just to let your worker go on that. But if you've got a big field, and this would be the way to go. I mean, 20% of your fertilizer cost. That would save a lot, I have a feeling. So at 75%, you're going to have, and like I said, just that little bit down there on the 20 and 40, you're seeing a little bit, but I think it's a little bit of bleed over from some other stuff we got going on. Kind of like what you see in everything else, there's a little bit of bleed. So I have a feeling that's what's going on. Or it could be that we're like right in between 75 and 80 is what the yield was, and it was like, I got to go somewhere. At 70%, that's going to be everything else. So if you put absolutely nothing in it, you're going to get 70. Let me go and turn all of these back on for everybody, just so you can see the full map one more time. There we go. That's going to be it, everybody. If you learned something today and enjoyed the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you would. If you want to stay up to date on my latest precision farming videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit the notification bell while you're over there. Have a great day, everybody. This is Driver53, signing off.